Hello, fourth graders. Happy Wednesday. We are going to learn a little bit more about the president and the rest of the executive branch today. All right, so some vocab. If you're appointing someone, you're deciding on them. So appointed means to decide on. Advisors are a group of people to get advice from. Economy is about the amount of goods and services that are being exchanged. So if not a lot of people are buying things, we're going to have a bad economy. If a lot of people are buying things, we'll have a good economy. Assassinated means to be killed. And the Great Depression was a time in our country's history when we had a very bad economic hardship. Many people did not have a lot of money, and a lot of things were closing down because nobody was buying things. So while all of our presidents, oh my goodness, while all of the presidents have been important to our history, I picked out a few that I think were especially important. So first is Abraham Lincoln. He was our 16th president. He led the North through the Civil War, and he made slavery illegal. So he's very well known for that. Unfortunately, weeks before the Civil War officially ended, he was assassinated. He was watching a show in a theater, and he was shot. But he did abolish slavery. He passed that before he was assassinated. This is Franklin Roosevelt, and he is our 32nd president. So this is interesting because he's the reason why we have that two-term rule. He was the longest serving president, so he served for more than 8 years, and after he was done, they decided to put that rule in saying that you could only serve for 2 terms max. And he led the country through that Great Depression era, so he got our country through that bad time in history and helped us get through it. And George Washington, he was our first president. He's often known as the father of the nation because he was our first president. He led us through the Revolutionary War, and he helped us become independent. And Barack Obama, 44th president, he is our first Black president. He made our economy better. We were in not a depression, but it's called a recession, which means our economy was not great. And he also came to a nuclear agreement with Iran. So basically that means that they both agreed to not start a war or try and harm anyone from our countries. All right, so the cabinet, again, that's that group of people that the president picks out or appoints, and they must be approved by Senate, so he or she can't just pick out some random people. It's approved by Senate. They check their credentials, they make sure that they're fit for the job before they approve them. A group of advisors, so that means that the president goes to them for advice on different decisions. And remember that we have several different departments. So if the president needs advice on something to do with farmers, he's going to go to the Department of Agriculture. If he needs help with deciding something with our armed forces, the president will go to the Department of, Department of Defense. So depending on the issue, that's where the president is going to turn to. And the president can also remove members at any time. So if they feel that a member of the cabinet is not doing their job, they have the power to remove them from their position. And here's some examples of those departments. So agriculture is farming. Treasury is all about money. Defense is about our military, our armed forces. Education deals with schools. Energy works on getting clean and reliable energy sources. We've got health and human services. They work on keeping Americans healthy. Homeland security is protection from terrorists. We've got our interior department, and that's dealing with like our parks and wildlife. The Justice Department is law enforcement, so the police, stuff like that. And then transportation deals with like our highways, plows, stuff like that. So our vice president. So this is Mike Pence on the left. He's our current vice president. And this is Joe Biden. He was President Obama's vice president. So the vice president is the advisor to the president. He's like his right-hand man or woman. They're also the president of the Senate. So that's the part of the legislative branch. And they're also the tie-breaking vote for the Senate. So if the Senate is voting on a bill and they decide exactly half and half, the vice president would break that tie and he would decide which way the bill was going to go. And we just talked about that as well. If the president is passes away or cannot do their job, the vice president will take over. Okay, let's read our questions. Please use the slideshow and video to help you answer the questions. Go back in that slideshow, please. Just open it in a new tab and look for your answers. 1, which president made slavery illegal? 2, which president was assassinated? 3, which president was the longest serving president? 4, which president was known as Father of the Nation? 5, which president reached a nuclear agreement with Iran? 6, what is the name of the group of advisors chosen by the president? 7, true or false, the president can remove cabinet members at any time? 8, give an example of one cabinet department. So from this slide here, give me one example. Okay, so agriculture, treasury, defense, education. Give me one example and tell me what is it in charge of. Okay, so what's the department name and what type of situations does it deal with? And number 9, which is not a responsibility of the vice president. All right, that's all I've got for you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, Adams.